A boy, Josh Allen, AFC Offensive Player of the Week, my favorite to win the MVP. By the way, here are the lines right now for the favorites to win the Most Valuable Player Award in the NFL. Purdy, I get. He's at 10. Burrow, I don't get at 9. Herbert at 8, I don't get. These aren't mine. These are the betters. Trevor Lawrence, 7. I don't think particularly he's been playing great. I actually think Lamar Jackson's played great. Dak is 6. Dak is back. Lamar Jackson is 5th. Hurts is 4th. Josh Allen is 3rd. He's such a good quarterback, Josh Allen. That's a guy I build my team around. Oh, I totally build my team around that guy. But I need a great coach around that guy. Okay? That guy needs a great coach around him. Sills, who was the NFC Player of the Week? Tyler Swift. Right? Am I right? Oh, DeAndre Swift. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I if I'm going to build my football team with someone not Patrick Mahomes, I'm building it with Josh Allen. But he has to have a great coach. Okay? See, Jalen doesn't have a great coach around him right now. He's got a training wheels coach. He's got somebody out of grad school as a coach. Jalen doesn't have great coaching around him. Probably the least coaching he's had in a long time. Okay? Just because you know somebody doesn't mean you're a good coach. I know him a long time. That doesn't mean he's good. We've had a relationship since he was 9. That doesn't mean you're a good coach. Just because you have a relationship with someone and you could tell a guy to go to hell and he won't get offended by that, that doesn't mean you know what you're doing in play calling. You're not buying that, are you? I mean, well, these guys know each other since they were like playing Tonka toys. What's that got to do with play calling? Has nothing to do with play calling. Quan goes, relationships are definitely bad. I didn't say that. Who said relationships are bad? I said that has no bearing on whether or not you can call an NFL football game. And this guy takes it and does like everybody in the news media does. You say one thing and it blankets everything. Well, the relationship, he thinks the relationship is a bad thing. I didn't say that. I said it doesn't mean you're a good play caller. Oh, but because they're boys, he's a good play caller? Okay. Josh Allen, 3. Mahomes is 2. And Tua Tagovailoa is number 1 with the sports bettors to win the NFL Most Valuable Player Award. The guy who replaced Hurts at Alabama. Man. You talk about how about this? If Tua runs through the tape this year, the Dolphins could be in the Super Bowl. That's how good he's playing. Oh, how about this? I mean, you know what's crazy? We're not talking about talent with Tua now. We're talking about if he stays healthy. That's got to be, for Chris Greer, the general manager of the Dolphins, when Brian Flores wanted to move off him, Chris Greer didn't want to move off of Tua. He wanted to keep him. So did the head coach. I'll tell you what, the head coach down there is also showing me he's just this guy. He's a guy that just doesn't look like the guy who holds the footballs for the kicker. This guy's turning out to be a heck of a play caller down there. Hey, am I right, Tone? Didn't this guy have a backup quarterback almost beat a team in the playoffs last year? I mean, weren't the Dolphins like driving with like a backup quarterback, or they were playing against somebody, and I thought like the Dolphins they kept it a game with like a backup quarterback because Tua was hurt. This guy's a good coach. It was the Bills. That's right. He's right. The Bills should a hot team goes to a cold city and almost beats the Bills and knocks them out. Dude, that guy can coach. That guy can coach. Tua's got a great coach around him. Hurts doesn't. And you know what? Let's put it out here. I don't know, man. Maybe I underestimated the importance of Shane Steichen. Maybe John McMullen's right. The importance of Shane Steichen, because I'll tell you what, Tone, everyone, am I right? Anthony Richardson probably looks like the best quarterback of all the young guys who went into the first round. Would that be fair? Stroud threw for a bunch of yards this past weekend, but would we not say that if you had to look at all the quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round this year, the guy who probably looks the best so far has been Anthony Richardson? That's Shane Steichen. Shit, man. Even Gardner Minshew looked pretty decent. Sills, this show is like a bad domestic relationship, although you're getting ass beat. You love it so. Hey, Tone, you got to put that up there, Tone. Tone, you got to put that up, man. You got to put that super chat up, man. I'm not sure how to take that. Oh man, I'm not. I don't know. Hey, DC, I don't know how to take that, man. I mean, Jesus criminy, man. This guy's saying that I beat this guy's ass all day, and I've now had such an effect on him that he's in a domestic violent relationship with Big Sills. I don't know. You made my aunt. You made my aunt cry, DC, with that. So, holy cow, man. Oh, God almighty. All right. So I got to tell you, hey, I can't wait to hear what Stockholm Syndrome. God, this guy, man, he shits all over me. What's he going to say today? Oh, my God almighty. I think it's an Italian thing. I don't mean to go there with it, but hey, it's low-hanging fruit. What do you want from me? How you doing? There's LJ with that 19-1 silver medal record. Yeah. No, Sills. Should we sign Eric Shana Shafety from TC? Yeah, sure. Hey, Twiz, sure. Sign them all. Bring them all in. Hey, you could put 71 guys today. Or no, that's next year. You could have like 69 guys now on an NFL roster. Why not? I'd sign everybody. Hopefully he can help. He can help your special teams. Trade Hurts for who? Justin Fields? You can keep that kid. I feel the same way. You love the show, but sometimes want to challenge. That's okay, Dirty. I've heard worse from my wife. Trust me when I tell you. All right. Listen. Now look, I'm not as dumb as you guys think I am. I know you think I'm dumb. Okay? I know you think I'm dumb. But I got a call last night. And you know what? I was watching. What was I watching last night? I was watching North Dallas 40. Remember that old movie back in the day? I was watching North Dallas 40. I get a call. I get a call from Bruce Arians, Senior Vice President of the Buccaneers. Hey, big game coming up. I said, yeah, I need 2 tickets for Tony Bruno and Miss Robin. He goes, I'll send it down, man. So I think that's probably why he called me, was because I called someone in there and I said, I need $2 tickets because I'm working on getting someone for Tony Bruno to get some tickets to go to the Monday night game. He wants to rep the Eagles. So, all right, it's all good. So out of nowhere, Bruce Arians goes like this to me. He goes, what do you make of that Eagles team? And I said, well, I think they're being kind of too conservative, actually, on offense. On defense, I think the guy's doing a pretty decent job with the broken pieces that they have on that side of the ball. And he's like, well, are they as good as a year ago? I go, absolutely not. I go, I think the offense will come around. I do. I think the offense will come around. Okay. There's too many good players on that thing. And the kid works hard. And he's not going to allow it to continue his play like that. Even though he's 24th now in QBR, he's not very effective right now because they're not really pushing. They're not dominating anymore. The Eagles have not. The Eagles dominated the Vikings in the fourth quarter. Okay, there's been two moments where you've dominated, like last year. The first series against New England and that last series against the Vikings offensively. Other than that, it hasn't been dominating. You just haven't been a dominant football team. Clearly on defense. Now, you're dominant on the run defense. And so he's like this. He goes, how do you attack them, you think, defensively? I said, to me, man, New England, they figured it out in the second quarter with them tight ends. If that's me, and the Bucs really don't have an effective tight end, I put Mike Evans in the slot and see if anybody can guard that guy. He's 6'5". You know Mike Evans is 6'5"? He's a 6'5" wide receiver. He's a big dude. The Eagles don't have anybody on that side of the ball can cover him. He's a big physical presence. I would play him in the slot and move him down closer inside. They struggle mightily covering people. They're not bad on the numbers. And he goes like this. He goes, well, I go, they're terrible in the middle of the field. They have been for 2 years. And they're worse this year because they just don't have people. They did a poor job at retooling the team. I said, I'll tell you what, though, what's improved. If Baker Mayfield doesn't get a run game going it won't matter if you don't get a run game going because he's all play action. And they're dominant right now in the D-tackle position. Jordan Davis has turned his whole deal around. And he's not only – and by the way, you got a backup center in there. That guy might get tortured a bit by them two dudes. I told him that. I said, these guys are humming off the ball, man. I think they inspire one another. You know what's funny? Some of you guys, they look like they did at Georgia together. They're like kind of playing off of each other in there. They don't want one guy to have more accolades than him and the other guy to get accolades. I'm telling you, man, I think it's drafting of both of those guys who played together at Georgia like that. I think it's a very healthy, competitive relationship that they're building in there. That's great to have because both guys, man, I mean, first round draft choices, big expectations on both of them. Jordan Davis is hearing all this, how good Jalen Carter's playing. Okay. And to me, I told Bruce, I go, dude, they're good. They're good. And I told him, I go, they're not really getting much of a pass rush, and their quarterback's getting hit. I said, me? And by the way, the things that I'm saying, the Eagle guys watch the show. They know it. But they already know this. Can I tell you what I think the Bucs are going to do? I think the Bucs are going to run right at Hassan Reddick because they don't think he's healthy. They're going to run at him. They're going to try to run the ball at him. The problem, though, is the Bucs don't have a running game. What did they get last week? 73 yards, kind of rushing, right? I don't think the Bucs are going to generate any running game against that team. I just don't see it, which means this, Mayfield's going to have to drop back a lot. Now, you have to go quick pass. If you go 7-step, Carter and Davis are maybe going to get home. And what is the one thing Baker Mayfield struggles from? I told Bruce this. I go, you know what he struggles from? Interior pressure. I said this, though. You know one thing that they have going on right now in Philadelphia? If you watch the 22, they're having trouble picking up the blitz, and they're having trouble with Hurts seeing interior pressure as well. There's 7 sacks already. He's been hit more. And they don't have a blocking running back there. I would have signed Zeke Elliott to protect Jalen. And by the way, so you got Rashad Penny, who's the biggest player in that position room, not really active, who is, you know why he's not playing? Do you know why now? I know why Rashad Penny's not playing. One of the biggest failures he had, what was that guy's name? Tone, was it Connors? Who was the running back up there? Carson. His name was Carson. You know why he played over Penny? Health, obviously. He could pick up blitzes. Chris Carson, I think his name was. Is that right? That's it. He could pick blitzes up. Rashad Penny's not playing because he's terrible in pass protection. That's why he's not playing. You can't. If I saw Rashad Penny line up in the backfield, I'd blitz every down. He struggles at seeing blitzes. And Jalen's getting better at interior pressure. That's why Rashad's not active. You see, if you think about it, Gainwell's probably your best pass protecting back there. That's why the Eagles like him more. DeAndre Swift's not a pass protection guy. Gainwell starts because of pass protection and picking up blitzes. It's the number one thing that keeps running backs on the sidelines. It's not the fact they can't run the ball. They can't protect. And picking up blitzers. They've been blitzing more on Jalen interior-wise and up the middle. And I think you'll see that with these Buck linebackers. Shaq Barrett's playing great ball. He's a motivated, talking with Arians, he is a motivated dude, man. His poor girl passing away in a drowning accident, man, he is playing with his hair on fire. He was all over the field last week. Devin White can play. Dude, they got great dudes in the secondary. That's a top 5 defense. They get after people. That's a better defense than what you saw in New England. And they're going to disguise. They have the personnel to shut you down. If you're not playing well and you're play calling and you're apprehensive, the Bucs can shut you down. Giving up 17 points a game. That is a deep. Now, again, the offense is my concern because they don't have. There's no Leonard Fournette kind of guy back there. Like I said, I think they got 73 yards last week, which was just enough. In the first week against Minnesota, they had 248 yards in total offense. They beat them because the Vikings with all those turnovers. Okay? And it's in Tampa. I'm telling you, man, that game is going to be closer than you think it is. Okay? It's going to be closer. The Bucs have personnel and coaching. Bowles handles pretty much that side of the football. Mayfield is playing for a new contract. You got to think about something with Baker Mayfield and what he's doing here. Do you understand something? The more that Baker Mayfield wins, the more likelihood they'll give him another contract, because what will happen? The more he wins, they move out of that top 10 and they keep moving down to the lesser guy who will be available in this coming draft, to making it to a point where if they win 10, 11 games, in that NFC South and they win 10, 11 games, Baker Mayfield can earn himself another contract in Tampa. He's not an old guy. Personally, I think the Bucs have been at, I asked Bruce last night what his take was on, do you remember when hey, Tone, right? When he was on the last time, I was like this. Hey, what do you make of Mayfield? He goes, I love him. Team loves him. We love him. Organization loves him. I was like this. That's just coach talk. Okay? It's just coach talk. 2-0. 2-0. Look, I got asked this question. It's funny, man. We were on for like 35 minutes talking about the Eagles. He goes, do I think they're a good team? I go, yeah. They're 11 or north of 11 wins. There's two good players on that team. That old line, I think, will figure it out. By the way, I did say this. If there's a weakness on that line, it's Cam Jurgens. I think he's too short. I don't think he's good enough. After, you look at the first 8 quarters and you watch him play, Isaac Seumalo's a loss. Isaac Seumalo's a loss. Bigger loss than Miles Sanders. Seumalo's a loss for sure. Because when you watch Jurgens play, I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I think everyone thought that they were, just because Jeff Stoutland was there, that they were going to slide this guy over. I think they have to have major concerns about him playing over there right now, because he's giving pressures up too. And it's affecting the tackle and center play. When you got a guy that's taking false steps, you watch him, he takes false steps. And you know what he's doing too? As a defensive lineman, I told Tracy this the other day. You know what he's doing that you see immediately? He lunges. Dude, great offensive tackles and great offensive guards in the NFL are patient. They don't lunge. He's a lunger. What happens when you lunge? When you lunge, you're giving your shoulders up and you're out of position. Those great guys bow their back, sit back, and wait for you to make a move. Dude, I've seen guys like Nate Newton get back in a stance. And what made Nate so crazy great was that Nate was left-handed, so he punched you with the opposite hand, and you really didn't know where it was coming from, and he would turn your shoulders. That's the key to this. You got to turn these guard shoulders, and Cam Jurgens is getting his shoulders turned too much. He's not playing well. I go back every night and watch the games, and I start looking at particular positions, especially guys that you have been replacing. And to me, Isaac Seumalo got benched last season. He almost made the Pro Bowl. He just signed a brand new extension, or he just signed a brand new contract and got a massive raise with the Steelers. Benched. Isaac Seumalo was benched, and he just signed a deal with the Steelers for $17 million. That shows you what you know, guy. Jurgens is not playing well. I don't give a shit what you think. He's not Isaac Seumalo. Isaac Seumalo handled the Browns. Did you not watch that game the other night? What are you, crazy? Jurgens he's a lunger and he's too small. I'd give that kid Steen an opportunity to get in there and play. Another place that you're not really, you're pass protecting running backs. We kind of hit on it just a couple minutes ago. Last year, Miles Sanders did a pretty good job at picking blitzes up. This year, you're struggling there. Your pass protection. It's funny, the two areas that you're struggling mightily on your team is pass defense and pass probe. Okay? Those are two areas you have not looked good at all. Last year, you dominated at that stuff. This year, you're not dominating. You do not look dominant at all in any of those areas. People are getting to your quarterback. Now, is that a reflection of the fact that you're getting up there in age? Is Lane, somebody asked the question, Seals, do you think Lane's showing his age? No, I think the whole thing is just out of sync right now for whatever reason. Hey, by the way, how many people think Kansas City looks good? He scored 17 points last week. I mean, how many, when you look at Kansas City, are you going like this? Like if you were sitting in Kansas City with Chiefs Kingdom, would you be doing this? Does Kansas City look like a Super Bowl team right now? No. I don't think Kansas City's getting back to the conference title game. Unless things turn around, I don't see it. I don't think they have the defensive personnel, nor do I think they have the offensive personnel to get back. You talk about these two Super Bowl teams, and there's lesser talent in Kansas City. I think there's more of a chance that the Eagles get back to the conference title game than Kansas City getting back. And they have Mahomes and Reed. I think there's a better shot there. Okay? I mean, right? Would anybody go like this? Man, KC looks awful good. They're 1-1. It's early in the season. Everybody gets beat. They got beat early in the year last year by the Colts. Hey, they may turn it around too. They got two really good coaches in Reed and Spagnuolo. They do. Okay? But I don't think they don't have the talent to fix that shit on that side of the ball. Chris Jones is going to make a massive impact once he gets into football playing shape. And so is Travis Kelce. That's going to enhance their chances. Baltimore looks way better. You know, the more you go back and watch the 22 and you watch how Lamar's playing, Lamar looks good. There is a confidence about his play right now. Lamar Jackson looks good. He looks good. He does. He's throwing it all over the place, man. And he looks good. Baltimore is going to be a force this year. That's going to be a team you're good. It's going to take a lot. You're going to have to play 60 minutes to beat that team. Okay? It's going to take 60 minutes to beat that team. That team's good. He's a good football player. And I think he is playing well. You know, I didn't really think in the first game because I thought they kind of limped in the halftime because I was watching it and I'm like, I don't know, still a little choppy, but he's getting better. Okay? He's getting better. Personally, and that's why I say when everyone's looking at we're looking at the Eagles, well, let's be fair and put it in. Let's do something here and put everything into context here. Okay? Jalen Hurts is 24th in QBR. He's been okay. Not great. Not horrible. He's been okay. Okay? They've been effective when they needed to step on the gas. I wouldn't say he's one of the bright spots on the team right now. He's not. But then again, watch this. Is Justin Herbert a bright spot on the Chargers right now? Bro, you can't keep missing passes like that on 3rd and 7. And you can't have all those 3 and outs. They got to reel his ass back in. I think in Buffalo, they had a come to Jesus conversation. That's why the guy was the offensive player of the week. They were not going to allow him to have high percentage turnover plays. They reeled him in like no, but I'll tell you what, that's probably the most reeled in that Josh Allen has been reeled in since he's been the starting quarterback in Buffalo. And they reeled his ass in big time. But look what that meant. Pulling him off the edge got him as the AFC player of the week. Do you understand how that, as a motivating factor as a coach, you walk to your player and you go, so let me get this right. You had less plus 25 passes and you were the player of the week in the AFC. Now you have to buy it. You see what we're saying to you? The player sees it. He buys into the blind faith. Man, maybe I don't have to throw those deep passes and in them tight windows like that. These guys are right. Because after that first drive with the Raiders, they blew the Raiders out. They blew the Raiders out. So they reeled him in. They pulled him off the ledge. And so much so, he was the player of the week. Dude, it's one thing to see. I think they're pulling Jalen back, but they're hurting him by pulling him back. I think they're hurting him. He's playing tentative. The offensive attack is tentative. When I watch Dak and Mike McCarthy, there's nothing tentative. Plays in on time. Snaps early. He's got plenty of time on the clock, the play clock. He's reading. Dak is reading. You know what's crazy? It's almost like the pitch clock. Dak has more time to read defenses because the play's going in on time. That's why Dak doesn't have any picks right now. Dak doesn't have any interceptions right now because the play's coming in quicker. He's seeing everything better, and he can process the information better. Kellen Moore would get down to about 15 seconds. They call the play in the huddle, and you're at 9 seconds before you snap the ball. McCarthy's got that play in like that. This guy's got about 18 seconds to play around and look around the room and process the information that's in front of him. I can't tell you how important that is. Brian Johnson, in my opinion, getting to play into Jalen, I don't know. I think it's a little bit lazy. I think it's a little lazy. Okay? Seals loves Allen playing weak-ass defenses. He was the player of the week. He was the player of the week. And you played the worst defense in the NFL, the Vikings. What are you talking about? Weak-ass defenses? Vikings are horrible. 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 There's not a redeeming player outside of that Daniel Hunter guy on that defense. The rest of them suck. Okay? The Raiders are worse. Of course they are. Of course they are. They're worse. So I told Bruce, one of the things Bruce Arians asked me, he goes, do you think the Bucs have a better roster than the Eagles? I went, no. You have a better defense, though. But their O-line is better. Hurts is their best running back. It's not DeAndre Swift. By the way, I don't fear DeAndre Swift. I fear Hurts running with the ball. But now, the way that they're holding him back running with the ball, they've taken that threat away. Hurts is tentative running the ball. There's not a threat there. That's the 55 million Boomer was talking about. Hurts is not the threat in the run game right now that he was a year ago. And it's affecting his passing game, and it's affecting the play calling. You know, I watched that thing a lot last night, and he's not. How many people think that Hurts is still a super threat? How many yards has he had in his rushing in first two games? How many yards has he had? Just curious. He's had 259 yards rushing in 2 games. Jalen Hurts has had 259 yards rushing in 2 games. Well, I'm wrong then. Jalen Hurts has had 259 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts has 72 yards rushing. Tone, is that total? That's not Jalen Hurts of a year ago. There's your problem. the Eagle threat has been taken away because I don't fear the 170, whatever it was from DeAndre. I don't fear it. There's your issue. 72 total yards. So you're basically averaging like 37 yards rushing out of him. I'm not concerned anymore about your run game. And again, the run game, I'm concerned about your run game, but I'm concerned about Hurts on third down. Interesting. Hey, Tone, can you do me a favor? I hope you can for me here. I'd like to know how many yards rushing Jalen Hurts had in the first 2 games last year compared to what the 72 yards rushing. He's not a threat right now. He's tentative running the ball. Now, if it's 72 from a year ago, then my take's wrong. Okay? Then my take's wrong. How many yards did he have last year in his first 2 ball games? Running the ball. So we had like 70 yards rushing a game in the first 2. Is that about right? Versus 30. Okay. So 70 yards plus his passing stats. Had 90 yards rushing versus the Lions and almost 60 yards versus the Vikings. Now he's got 72 yards. They're getting away from him being part of the running game. That's the difference in play action in what they're doing. So why would they change success from a year ago? Would it be the contract? Him playing 17 games? Okay. That's why it looks not as good as it did a year ago. He's not a threat on third down right now running the ball. He's not a threat. Scott's talking about one game and the other guy. I don't give a shit about DeAndre Swift. He's not the threat to me. Vikings were still in the game with Swift's numbers. When Hurts breaks out and gets those third downs, I fear that. I don't fear DeAndre Swift. I don't. Dude, the Vikings were still in the game with him. When Hurts has control of that game, he's doing it by his legs and his arm. And most notably by his legs. And when you take that component, he's a dual threat guy. He's not a single threat guy. Now you're making him a single threat guy. I don't fear Jalen Hurts now on third down. If I'm the Bucs, I don't fear that. I don't fear it. Let Swift. Swift's not going to put 170 yards up every game. He ain't going to put up, I guarantee you, he don't put up 100 yards versus the Bucs defensive line. You want to put money on that? I will. He's not. The team may, but he's not. He ain't putting up 100 yards. You ain't putting up 200 yards versus the Buccaneers. That ain't happening. Okay? Jalen Hurts is not a threat on the running game any longer. He's not. All right, folks, do me a favor, please. Remember our good friends at Hooters, the official home of the National Football Show. We so appreciate our friends. NortheastHooters.com. Go to one of the 7 locations nearest you. We're going to be in town probably, I think, next week. I think it is next week. We're going to be in town, and we're going to be at the King of Prussia one. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to talk to many of you out there. Also, if you don't want to go into any one of the locations, go to HootersToGo.com. Take the food home. Take it to your own kingdom. Best way to go. We so appreciate you guys, man, and We love the fact that Hooters is the official home of the National Football Show and Big Sills. And by the way, football and wings, it doesn't get any better when you're talking about Hooters here, right? Tuesday, buy 10 wings, get 10 free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983, that's the price. All you can eat. Kids eat for free on Saturdays. $6, 6 items. You just can't go wrong. All the happy hour specials. NortheastHooters.com. Find one of the 7 locations nearest you. And when you go into any one of them, do me a favor, tell them Big Sills sent you.
Football and Hooters, the perfect